Wagwan, Mandem, and Galdem, welcome back to a video. This one's a bit different. Today I'm just going to be showing you how to make a thumbnail, more specifically a Clash of Clans based thumbnail. This was requested by Clash King, so big up Clash King. So pretty much getting into the tutorial, you want to open up Photoshop if you have it. This was from I got Photoshop from uni, and you know, I can use it from there. But pretty much you want to open a thing. I've got a custom one here, size of a thumbnail, 1280 by 720 obviously. So we'll go ahead and open it. I tend to use pixels, but we'll go ahead and create that right there. So pretty much first off, what you want to do is, I took this photo here of the base using my iPad, and I'll go ahead and drag this into Photoshop right now. And pretty much what I want to do is just readjust the image so it just fits onto the document right here, just nice and perfectly, so that there's more space on the left side here and less on the right side. So I'll go ahead and adjust that in. I'd say probably about there is fine. Maybe a bit more down like that. Alright, so next up, I just want to grab this thing right here. This is the polygonal lasso tool, however the fuck you say it. But pretty much what you want to do is just go in here and pretty much just highlight the base like this, just around the edges. I do. As you can see, I leave the white lines in when I'm taking the screenshot of the base, so it makes it easier so I can make the thumbnail like I'm doing now. So pretty much if you got a base like this, it's pretty simple to go around. But if you got a base that has a lot of jagged edges and whatever, then it's a bit more difficult. This is almost done. Pretty much this is it. And once you've done this, it doesn't have to be like the best because it's not really going to show the underneath. So pretty much what you want to do after that is you want to go, I'll just zoom out so I can show you. So pretty much what you want to do is go edit, and then make sure you're on this layer right here. Copy this, and then once you've copied it, just paste it. And then what I usually do is go over here to the layer, because you just created a new layer once I've copied and pasted it. Then right click this layer here, this new layer that I've created. I'll go ahead and rename it base top, just because it's the top layer. And we'll go ahead and right click that layer and go to blending options. Right now I'm in blending option, as you can see. And what I usually do is I'll add a stroke to the base, just highlights it. I usually add 4 or 5. This one looks like it needs 5. It depends how big the base is or whatever. And then I'll go ahead and add a drop shadow here. And then all you have to do is pretty much, you can decide what angle you're on, but I usually just leave it at 90 degrees. And then you can play with the opacity and whatever, and it just makes it darker or not, whatever. But usually distance, I won't go too far. I'll just bring it to like 10 or whatever. It depends what you're doing. Spread, I just adjust and go around, but size is what you really want to play with here. Spread and size is probably what matters. And then as you can see, it's pretty far off the ground and it looks pretty distant. So I'll just put the distance back down to 4. It doesn't really even need that much distance. And then we'll go ahead and adjust the spread and the size, and it sort of all just works together like that. And that's probably like decent enough, I'd say. But pretty much that's just about it. If you want, you can add like inner glows or whatever. It doesn't really do much. Inner shadows, they don't really do much, but that's about it for that bit of it. Next, what I usually do is I'll usually down here, I'll drag this Clash of Clans logo in. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want really, but I'll just drag it in, adjust it to the corner here, make it fit in. Then I can use blending options again, because it seems to, you know, be sort of non-viewable in the background. It sort of just blends in. So just add like a small drop shadow here. And because the thing is a bit smaller, I'll go ahead and drag this all the way down, just so the shadow is small like that. And that looks pretty decent. So next of all, what I usually do is I'll drag this thing here, this league badge or whatever it's called in, and I will adjust this to be pretty decently sized here. You can all find these images or whatever on Google, except obviously the base. But this, and I will then go blending options again. I will add a drop shadow to this one. This doesn't really require a stroke because it goes all weird and whatever. But then again, you can go ahead and play with the blending options and see what you specifically like. That's okay, I'd say. But if you think that that's too big, then obviously go ahead and adjust it. But that size is pretty decent, I'd say. And then what you want to do afterwards is, I usually just write here TH9, obviously meaning Town Hall 9. I'll go ahead and adjust the size of that, and then change the font to Super, if it wants to type, Supercell Magic Regular. So I'll go ahead and change it to that, and then readjust the font again. I usually try and center it, just because it looks better like that. Go ahead and apply that, and then we will right click on TH9, go blending options, and for this one I usually just go bevel and emboss, however you say it. And then you can go ahead and sort of adjust this a bit. It doesn't really need too much adjusting, as I've already done it, but you can go ahead and copy this if you want. And if you've never used this, then obviously you don't have to. Then I'll go ahead and use the drop shadow on this one, make the drop shadow a bit smaller so that it's not too in your face. And then we'll go ahead and add a stroke, but I'll change the stroke color to black this time. That's probably a bit too big for this one, so go ahead and see if 2's alright. One probably looks the best there. Not too much, but not too little. But I could probably go ahead and still adjust the drop shadow. It probably needs to be a little bit darker, and that stroke's probably, yeah, nah, it looks alright. But this drop shadow should be, yeah, that looks pretty decent, I'd say. And then I usually just make that maybe a little bit bigger, and then sort of center it here, bring it down a bit so that they are together. And then if you want to obviously add anything else, I'd probably go for something that, you know, the base defends well against. So I'll go ahead and bring the Lava Hound in here. I don't know, maybe put it in the corner. Then I'll just put it right here, right click that layer again, the Lava Hound layer that I just brought in. And obviously here, one second, obviously here, if you don't, so this is the league thing right here. If you want to turn off any layers, you just go ahead and just click on the icon right down here. And obviously if you want to bring certain things to the front, like just say I wanted to bring this base to the front, I just go ahead and drag the layer like this, and I can bring it to the front, but I don't really want that, so I keep it at the back, but obviously not. Obviously I keep this layer at the bottom here. Obviously if I wanted to make this base a little bigger, I could go ahead and adjust that, but I don't really need to because it's big enough. But we'll go back to the Lava Hound here, right click it, go into blending options, and I'll just add a little drop shadow to this just to make it look nice. Stroke, nah, that doesn't really work, but go ahead and play around with the drop shadow. And yeah, that probably looks okay enough, but that's pretty much the finished one. We'll go ahead and just make the Clash of Clans logo a bit bigger, just so it's a bit more visible. But yeah, that's pretty much the thumbnail done. Obviously, if you want to add anything else to the thumbnail, you can. But that looks like it's going to be the end of the video. If you have any questions, or if I didn't cover anything clear enough, leave your questions and whatever in the description below. If you did go on to enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.